It's Monday, 23rd of December 24, and I'm just giving my views on the Saudi German, the Saudi who Angela Merkel made German, who's just run down lots of people at a Christmas market, and so far 5 are dead. We don't know how many more, and more will be injured, etc. But yeah, really, I think people should sue the government for letting them into the country, basically. And I think that should happen in all these situations, because we're always being told by politicians examples of the good it's doing, the supposed example, usually is supposed economic example. In this case, he was a psychiatrist, so, he was meant to be an absolutely role model up until this, although was he anyway? And also, I wonder, should any of his patients sue him? We don't know. So far, we've just got to presume that he was a competent psychiatrist, although I don't know if that's even possible. But because it just seems a subjective thing where they give you pills, and then 20 years later they think, oh, there's research that the pills were bad for you or whatever. But no, that's besides that. Whether he was even at that standard of psychiatrist, was he as competent as an ordinary German psychiatrist, who's probably getting about €120,000 salary a year from the taxpayer? Yeah, or was he mad? Was he bonkers all the time? Are we going to hear stories like that from patients? And then all the patients should sue the government as well, because that's why he was brought over here. So I guess to Germany or whatever. Yeah, under the grounds it was going to be a real economic bonus, because your views on women's rights and LGBT, etc. don't matter. That's not something that Labour or SNP are bothered about, I mean, I would be happy if Yvette Cooper and Peter Tatchell made up a test that you had to pass to become British, or whatever. But anyway, it was allowed in. And I know that Yasmin Mohammed, who I respect highly, she's on YouTube. She was actually the bride of an ISIS fighter. And she wore the burqa that. She moved to Canada or whatever, her and her family. But then she didn't like it, and she's sort of given all that up. So she was a real change. I mean, personally, I don't want anybody from Saudi, really. I think it's too high a risk. But yeah, I know that she personally wants those who have abandoned the traditions there to be given refuge in the West. I don't see why. I think they should a country nearby to them or whatever, or even form a new country, in that area. But I don't see why the West should have to take everybody in from all over the world. Yeah. Anyway, I respect her greatly. She's worth listening to her YouTube and that. But she says she had contact with him about 20 years ago, because he was saying, or 15 years ago, because he was saying he helps Saudi ladies especially that want to leave the country because they don't like the traditions and whatever. But she says straight away she realised he was crazy and he was threatening. She wrote a tweet about this over the last couple of days, and she immediately blocked him. Apparently a lot of them in that circles block him because he's threatening or whatever. And she even wonders if he was working for the Saudi government, although, I mean, she doesn't know anything at the moment or think it, but it has crossed her mind, he was that crazy. But I think he was just crazy, basically, and he was just basically, that's him being as he is. But when I say that, I mean, I'm an atheist, so any religion, to me. But he says he's given it all. He said he'd given it up. Whether he has or not, he was just crazy anyway. To me, he shouldn't have been in Germany. Merkel made him German, so I think the victims should sue him, and that should happen in every time we have a tragedy to do with someone who is from overseas, because MPs are always telling us how good it is, and for anyone that's anxious about it, they're being the R word, you know. So it should be on the politicians' shoulders, this sort of thing, you know, like the Manchester thing and the London thing and the New York thing. The politicians should be to blame for these, putting people at risk. And of course, for our Christmas markets now, we've got huge barriers, you know, to protect those who want to go to the thing. In this case, it never worked. So they'll maybe have to put up even huger barriers, you know, to protect the people as they go shopping at the market. There's no one thinking, hang on, this is silly. Why have we got into this situation? You know, because the question is, why are people leaving beautiful warm countries where everyone is of similar? That is the question you should be asking in these situations. And why are they coming to cold, wet countries? You know, the only reason people should be moving really is for beautiful warm weather. People talk about the Irish moving places, but they're moving to colonies basically that have been colonised, but which are very desirable. They're not moving to any of these countries, and neither are the people there moving to any of these countries, or all that sort of stuff, you know. So you've got to think of all that. I think really 5 or 10 years time, native women of the Green Party and the Socialist Worker Party are going to be saying that Nigel Farage is far too soft on this issue, you know, and they think it really, we're heading for anarchy and maybe a reversal really, you know. But it's either that or anarchy, you know. I see they're starting to talk about that in Germany now, but although the German politicians are trying to ban that party, who are the protest party. See, because the problem is that there's this one issue that's leading us to anarchy. But at the moment, we have to vote for party hampers. So we're having to, okay, just want to vote on this issue. Obviously, I can't vote left. So I'll need to vote the right. But then once they get power, they come in with all their economic policies and that. Hopefully the left will change their mind, or a new left party will come in who's sensible on this issue, and then, okay, I'll vote the sensible left party, you know. But I don't think we should be voting on party hampers anyway. We should be voting on issues like they do in Switzerland. Switzerland's really the only real democracy, and probably even that's not a very good one. Yeah, so that's what I've got to say about that. The victims' families should sue the government for letting them in, and because that's the only way they're going to get a message, I think. And the patients, if they think they were poorly treated by the psychiatrist, who people on Twitter are saying was crazy that were corresponding with him, Saudi Westerners, they think he was crazy. The patient's family should sue him as well, or the patients should sue him, if his psychiatry wasn't up to the poor standards that's already given by the West. It's not even that standard, because he sounds like a nutcase, dangerous, threatening. So yeah, anytime these things happen, the government should be responsible, so the families should be suing them. You know, what's happening is the Prime Minister will be saying things like, let's all go and we'll bring everyone together and we'll sing Don't Look Back in Anger, and we'll get the message you're not allowed to criticise anything about this. But I think the victims families should take the other thing. Let's sue the government and let's not go to these things, you know. And it would be nice if, just forget it. I'll leave it at that just now. Goodbye.